Welcome to the Latina Moms Building Wealth interview series. I am super excited for our guest today. First, I wanted to let you know that today, this information is for informational purposes only. It should not be taken as advice. And today I have with me someone very, very special and near and dear to my heart. She is a friend and I love her dearly. Her name is Jennifer Alatorre Gonzalez, and she is a manager of customer experience in construction and engineering and an Illinois-based realtor for Berkshire Hathaway Home Services here in Chicago. So Jen, I'm super excited to have you here. I'm super excited for the gems that you're going to throw to our audience today. Welcome. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do and how you can help women?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It is an absolute honor and pleasure to be here as you are somebody that I really admire, that I look up to as a mentor, and that has just 100% contributed to my success in financial wealth building and getting on the right path, because Lord knows I was derailed. So it's thanks to Michelle that I'm here and have a success story to share.
Wow. Yeah, thank you so much for that, Jen. I really appreciate it. So let's talk a little bit about what you do as a manager of customer experience in construction and engineering, and then we'll jump into the realtor a little bit.
Of course. So I do have a 9 to 5, and I also have a plethora of side businesses as well to have more passive income and disposable income, along with investment, continuing to build my investment portfolios. So I think that I want to preface this by saying that one income isn't enough, especially in today's market and ever growing inflation. So to answer your question, my 9 to 5 is manager of customer experience within a Korean-based tech company in the construction and engineering space. So what that means is my primary focus and responsibility is to ensure that our customers are having an unparalleled experience within our platform, so that I am responsible for the training, answering questions, any kind of roadblocks, issues, challenges. I'm sure everybody watching this has once in their life started using a new app, an iPhone, some type of device or a service where you're like, how do I use this? Like, what do I do? How do I download it, right? And you're like, I need help. And so that's my job. And then the fun part about it is that I also get to travel around the world for it and conducting in-person trainings and helping our customers better understand and utilize our service and to maximize it in order to receive the full potential and full advantages of what our platform can offer them on their construction projects throughout the entire project lifecycle. So what that means is being able to capture the project from if you're watching a hospital go up, if you're watching a terminal at the airport being built, right? Even a McDonald's, maybe a local subdivision. So that means recording it from the moment that groundbreaking happens, and then the pouring of the concrete and the framing going up, right? All the way through its completion and being handed over to the owner. And an owner might be like a Mariano's or something like that, right? Or
Right.
a big box store. So that's what I do and then wining and dining those customers to ensure that they're very happy and they continue to give us their business.
Right. So I'm gonna pick a few gems that you threw out there. The first one is that you also have a 9 to 5. There's a lot of women in the group and just women in general that believe, like, when they see us, like, how do you have a 9 to 5? And you said multiple streams of income, right? Nowadays, we need those multiple streams of income. What would you tell that woman? What piece of advice would you give that woman that is hearing you today, when you say you have a 9 to 5 and multiple streams of income, that is maybe feeling a little discouraged or something along those lines?
That's a great question. I was there and I'm still there, you know, even trying to find another passive stream of income. And don't be discouraged. It's literally looking within inside of you and your talents and what you can offer the world, right? So what are you good at? Maybe you're good at cooking. Maybe you're really good at organizing. I'm not. So if you are, reach out to me because I have a closet and a pantry that I could definitely use your services on. Right? So and so for me, it was what am I good at? I'm good at working with people. I'm good at making people feel welcomed and striking up a conversation with every single walk of life, right? And making someone trust me, because that's the feedback that I've gotten. So it's not here to brag, it's just what they've told me. So when I looked at all of that and then looked at what am I good at, uh, I'm good at finding homes, right? Because we'll get into the piece of where I'm a realtor. I love doing that, right? So
Mhm.
it's also a passion. What do you love to do? What is it that you find yourself doing? Maybe you're on Amazon all day long, right? Maybe you're on the Target app all day long, or you go to Costco and you are so great at finding the deals. Then that's where you start to build a website and say, here's the deals that I found, or here, everybody always loves my clothes that I wear. So maybe you become an influencer, right? And it doesn't necessarily have to be all of those that are more common. Maybe it's something like creating Excel sheets. Are you really good at an Excel sheet? I'm not. So again, call me, right? But
Right.
but with an Excel sheet, for example, you can create an Excel sheet for women, let's say a daily tracker, habit tracker.
Mhm.
That's something that I've now started to implement into my routine, put it on Etsy. So
Mhm.
it's about really finding your passion and what you love to do that you find yourself doing when you're not at your 9 to 5.
Right, right. And I have to agree with you there. The first thing that I give you kudos to is having clarity and knowing what is it that you enjoy and what you're good at. That's the first step, right? Because some people are like, well, I don't know what I'm good at. I don't know what I enjoy. I don't. And so in your case, you have that clarity, which has allowed you to then create the other multiple streams of income.
Correct.
Um, so I want to pivot a little bit into the real estate because we've walked homes together. I love, for me, I'm a one strike kind of person deal when I deal with people with business. And I've truly enjoyed working with you strictly because you help people find the home that they want, right? I've dealt with a lot of realtors before you that they want to give me their listings or whatever they want. And it's like, no, 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 I have a list. This is what I want.
Mhm.
And so I think you do a phenomenal job at that. Is selecting the homes, when I've mentioned to you, this is what I'm looking for, and that you kind of give me exactly what I want, right? Or even better.
Right.
So
Thank
how
you.
is it that you help how is it that you help women um create wealth through real estate?
So this is something that, like I said earlier, I'm so passionate about, and I'm now starting to see from personal experience as well as reading the statistics that more women are investing in real estate, and that not married, unmarried, no children, right? And for me, that's a personal a very personal part of my journey because I did start to invest in real estate when I was 22. I bought my first property. And so unmarried, no kids, and no idea what I was doing. So now, some change later, some years later, I'm on the opposite end of the table and wishing I knew what I know now back then. And so that's where I base all of my interactions with clients is putting myself in their shoes. What is it that I wish I knew then? What are some things that I learned now as a homeowner, as an investor, as a realtor, and being able to pass that wisdom on to somebody so that they're not left feeling like, man, I wish I knew that, or my realtor didn't tell me that, or no one told me, right? So we only know what we know. And so it's not, I know, like, for me, sometimes I don't ask the right questions, right? When it comes to work with my own boss. So now I'm thinking of this person, well, they're not going to know to ask that, how to change a filter on your furnace, right? They're not going to know to waterproof their house at the end of the season, so their pipes don't burst in the winter if it is an older property. So there's so much that I want to educate women on, because I think that we don't ask those questions, and we're very calculated, right? We are very cautious, and men kind of jump into things like head first, right? And they're like, we're just gonna go for it. And women are like, well, let me see where my finances are. If we're a mom, we're like, my family, I don't know, right? So a little bit more hesitant. So I'm here to answer those questions and to be available for women, and for them to find comfort in knowing I've been in your shoes. I've been in your shoes as a mom, as a Latina, as a woman, as a solo purchaser, right? No other funding available or co-signer or anything like that. So that's what I'm here for women to as a trusted advisor.
And I think that's really important when selecting a realtor, when selecting a doctor, when selecting somebody, is that you're relatable, right?
Mhm.
Like, I tell people, I'm not just a coach, I'm the landlord, I'm an Airbnb host. So your experience with all of your multiple streams of income makes you a better realtor, a well-rounded realtor. Because there's times that people are like, well, do you own a home? No, I don't know. Like, even, if they're a realtor, I don't own a home. Well, then, I know you saw houses, but it's a little different when you actually are an investor and you see what's going on, the challenges, the struggles, right?
Of
And so
course.
it's really important to find a well-rounded person like yourself when
Mhm.
purchasing a home. And you make that process so easy, flawless, where you don't feel stressed out, right? Especially as a first-time home buyer, that you feel like, oh my God, I have all this stuff going on. But because you are so detailed, I know how detailed you are. And because you're so detailed, it just makes the process so much smoother, flawless, less stress, and it's really helpful. So thank you for doing that.
I think what I like to add with women, like you mentioned, Michelle, it's a house that I want, right? It's a list of things I want. So I think a lot of realtors and will say, well, here's a list of potentials, right? Where I know somebody like your time is very limited. I'm not going to take you off to see, right? And I want to say for women too, and when it comes to investing, it doesn't have to be a single family home. So there's just so many different aspects that there are available for women to become investors and to start really taking advantage of those wealth building opportunities that are out there for us.
Let's talk about that. We're going to rewind a little bit, because I have actually a client right now that they want to purchase a home. They have one child. And my recommendation, I said to them, well, have you considered maybe purchasing a 3 flat first, right? Even though we just have one child, and
Mhm.
maybe living in a year or two, and
Mhm.
then saving up and putting that nice down payment on the home while you continue to make the money in the investment property. What advice do you give um, either a solo individual, a woman that's, not married, or perhaps a woman that's married, maybe with a small family, one child, when they say, what kind of recommendations, would you give them?
I definitely received that advice when I was 21 and 22 and I'm about to purchase my first property is no, get a multi-unit, 2 flat or 3 flat. And this is from somebody who had multiple properties, multiple businesses, but being the headstrong, very, determined little woman that I was at that age, I was like, no, I don't have the experience. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't want to deal with tenants. I had never rented at that time. So it was very scary. The idea was very scary to have to deal with, building maintenance. And I didn't know. And again, I think I didn't know the financial opportunities that I had and what would have been available back then to have multiple properties now, right? It was
Right.
just buy a multi-unit and then you're going to be so wealthy and you're going to do so well, right? But it wasn't, oh, well, here's what the payment in a multi-unit compared to a single family, and then the income that you're going to receive from the other rental units pays for your mortgage, right? So
Mm-hmm.
now you're
Mm-hmm.
living rent and mortgage free because
Free.
somebody else is paying for it. And that's something that wasn't explained to me in 2010, 2009, 2010, when I embarked on this journey. And so I wish that I had researched more, and that I have brought it up to my realtor because at that time I'm sure he would have answered that question for me,
Right,
or had I taken more advantage of that mentor that I had at that time.
right.
So being able to now in this position saying I always bring it up to my clients. I know you're looking at a single family home. I respect that and I will do all my best. However, let me tell you about the advantages of a 2 flat or a 3 flat. And I have had families that do go that route and they are living rent and mortgage free, and it's a beautiful thing.
So I started my first property was a 3 flat. And it's not only when we talk about financial journeys and when we talk about as a money coach, it's not just numbers, right?
Mhm.
And sometimes like clients that I've had has said, well, but I want my house, I want to host, I want to, and they don't realize like, hey, it's a short-term sacrifice of
Yes,
a year or two, of a year or two of not hosting, of a year or two of not having tons of people over, or not having the yard that you want for a long time freedom.
I think that's also a misconception that you can't host, right? Or that you won't have a yard. I have a client who purchased a 3 unit, right? And the home is beautiful. It's a beautiful building and has a spacious yard. I mean, it's on a double lot basically, right? So it's about finding that gem. And so it might not be a huge kitchen. They definitely don't have this spacious kitchen, but it's a beautiful kitchen nonetheless, right?
Hmm.
Updated and things. So it might take a little bit longer, right? To find that perfect property right now, that will kind of almost a balance where
Right,
maybe it has a big living room, tiny kitchen,
right,
but living room. So you can host Christmas, you can host birthdays. It has a tiny backyard. Well, let's make this work now, but let's talk about the long-term wealth
right,
building benefits, right? So
right,
it's
right.
gonna allow you to then save your rent, save your
Hmm.
mortgage payments, right? Because you're getting $2,000 or $3,000, whatever those numbers look like, and saving all of that into the bank. And then in a year or two, being able to take that money and purchase that single family home that you dreamt of, which might be even bigger than what you can get now.
Right. And so that's something that I also talk to women about is, let's say that you choose to go the single family home first, right?
Mhm,
And
mhm,
you buy this beautiful $400,000 home. I tell them now your money is tied to the mortgage. And so
mhm,
it's going to be that much more difficult.
mhm.
Now, like, let's use me, for example, I have 4 kids. If I had done that first, now paying tuition, kids, whatever, it's that much harder for me to save $25,000 or whatever it is for that payment for an investment, because now it's a different percentage that I'm putting down, right?
Right,
It's
right.
that much more difficult. And so
Yes.
people don't think about that when
Mhm.
they're making that choice. So I think it's really important and great that you educate the women and the families that you work with. So to close, let's just kind of talk about the people that are right now are saying, is it a good time to buy?
Mm.
Right? Because that's always the question. The interest rates are higher. Is it a good time to buy? They always ask me. What is your response to that?
Yes, I think I'm gonna change my name to Jennifer. Is it a good time to buy? Because that's the first, anytime I come into a party or something, Jennifer, is it a good time to buy? Um, so it's always a good time to invest in real estate, always. No matter where you are if you have a family, if you're a single woman and you're a go-getter, right? Look into it. Even if you don't think that you have the credit score, or you don't think you have enough in the bank, start the conversation, because right now, if you purchase now a 2 flat like we just talked about, you start having that rental income that you're saving, that you're then meeting with Michelle to learn how to invest it, to grow your investment portfolio. And then later on, you're picking up another property, right? And so you've already started the ball rolling in your financial journey to better yourself and better your generate if you have a family or you want to leave it to someone, right? So now is always the best time to start your investment and financial journey, whether it's with purchasing real estate or meeting with Michelle to better understand your finances. So I think right now, there's no better time than right now for your health, for your financial journey, for everything. It's right now.
I have to agree with you. I get asked that question all the time, especially because my husband and I are growing into our real estate coaching, and it's always like, is it a good time? And I always tell them, you use the word too. There's always a gem,
Yeah.
right? There's
Yeah.
always a gem. And so, yeah, I want to leave that. I want to leave the ladies with that. There's always a gem. It's always a great time to buy. It's great to invest in real estate. If you need help, saving, come to me. And then you want to purchase, you can have a discussion with Jennifer, and we can guide you in that journey. And it's just, you feel less stressed when you have clarity, when you have somebody that's walking with you hand to hand. And so, yeah, Jennifer, before we close, you also did a little coaching with me.
Mhm.
What do you want to tell that woman who is on the borderline of coaching? What does that look like? How did it help you?
So I am, like I said, so grateful when we opened up this conversation at the beginning of the interview. So grateful for you. It is overwhelming, and not with Michelle. For me, I think, and maybe that's my personality. The thought of finances at the time, overwhelming, scary. It's one of those like, open the closet and put it in before somebody gets here kind of thing, So it's out of sight, out of mind. Michelle made it easy. And it was almost like I needed that hand holding that I provide for my clients, whether it's in my 9 to 5 or real estate. She provided for me, and it was a very like, it's gonna be okay, you're gonna be fine. We're gonna cut down on the spending, and you're not gonna die, because that's that was, I think, Michelle, you can attest to that. That was my mentality back then. If I can't just freely spend all of my money all of the time, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
So now it's become I have a new outlook on finances and financial responsibility, and understanding my habits,
Mhm.
and
Right.
what works for me. And Michelle was able to do that for me, to set me up and to say it's going to be okay. Let's take a look at this regularly, as opposed to I'll do it next month, or we'll do it a year from now. We'll start January 2024.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now I check my finances regularly because of you. I have reduced my spending, and have saved quite a bit, and been able to do Dave Ramsey baby steps, and get on a much better financial track because of you.
And you said something that, sometimes we help other people, right? Like you do that to the first time home buyers, to the investors. You give them that accountability, that stress, but sometimes we find it hard to find that help for ourselves,
Oh my
right?
God, yeah. Yes.
So
And
I
it's
think,
like, I mean, think of a fitness journey, right? You can do it yourself, but you'll still seek out a personal trainer, right? Or something like that. But like when it comes to money, we don't do that. I don't know if it's women in general, if it's a cultural thing. I have no idea about that, but we just don't do it when it comes to our finances. And it can be very scary. And I think you're almost put in a position of vulnerability to be like,
right.
this is where I am. I don't have a savings account. I'm in $50,000 of debt, or even $5,000 of debt. And it might seem monumental to you, right? It's holy cow, how do I get myself out of this? Right? How do I take that first step? Michelle makes it possible to do that.
No, and I want to thank you. And I want to thank you for really helping our families and our ladies and Latino families out, and building generational wealth through real estate. So if there is women watching or anybody watching that wants to connect with you, Jen, how can they connect with you?
Sure. My email is jennifer.alatorre at bhhschicago.com. Again, that's jennifer.alatorre at bhhschicago.com. And you can also find me on Jennifer Alatorre Gonzalez on Facebook, and connect with Michelle, and she can also connect us as well. So
Absolutely. And I will definitely, once we post the video, I will definitely add your information for women to be able to reach out and contact you.
thank
Jen,
you.
it's been a pleasure. Thank you for giving us some gems and some nuggets today. I really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for providing the space to do so, and for women everywhere. Thank you for doing what you do.
Is there one last thing, anything that you want to tell our audience before we leave today?
I just want to say, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to follow your dreams. You have a daydream. I'm sure we all have a daydream. Follow it. Follow your daydream and become your own boss. So that's all.
That's great. As always, ladies, have a blessed day. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.